Y'all, we need to talk about journalism. It is no mistake that in times like these, where we get our news from is important. We've got people shouting fake news left and right, we've got people with biases impacting their news articles, and we've got sites like The Onion who actually post fake news that people might repost thinking it's fact. How many times can we hear, can someone verify this, from our older generation before we realize that we have a problem with media literacy and journalism as a whole? But my concern for today isn't necessarily about the consumer and how the average layman interprets media. My concern is with the producer, the sellout, the people who might have sold their integrity for profit, who have sacrificed their credibility for the almighty dollar. I know that's heavy, but journalistic integrity and journalism as a whole has been critiqued since its inception and has only amplified since the dawn of the internet. As we become more connected with people who were once out of reach, like celebrities and politicians, and more privy to international affairs, a human's natural curiosity is piqued and wants to know more about intimate details. This curiosity is something that people acknowledge and are willing to fulfill the noble task of providing answers for. As of August 2024, it is reported by the U.S. International Trade Administration that the U.S. media and entertainment industry is projected to grow to $808 billion with a Z by 2028. That is a lot of money, to me at least. Conveniently enough, another thing that people enjoy besides getting their curiosity satisfied is money. Perhaps a generalization, but people enjoy having money because it allows humans to access the finer things in life, and wherever money is to be found, people will venture to it. Since journalism has become such a booming business, many have brought it upon themselves to start blogs, such as Perez Hilton, for example, to spread the latest updates of what's going on in the world. As social media became a giant in the 21st century zeitgeist, businesses and everyday people ran to start accounts on various platforms to spread news and satiate people's desire to know. Instagram, the subject for today's podcast, is a juggernaut in this realm of platforms, boasting over 1 billion users, according to Stacey Jo Dixon, a researcher from Statista.com. With this many users comes heavy user traffic and post traction if you're lucky enough. Due to how much money can be made on Instagram and how quickly it can be done, those seeking to make money for a creative project or maybe even a quick buck from slop flock fast. People want clicks, and some are willing to go to the extremes to achieve those clicks. People will jump off buildings, inconvenience strangers, or simply lie to an audience if it means they can get engagement. Lying, or at the very least exaggerating the truth to get people interested, is a crude way of saying clickbait. Young et al. Describe clickbait as short teaser messages that make use of cognitive biases to increase the likelihood that users click on the accompanying link. Kind of like tabloids, clickbait really bank on whatever their audience may be drawn to, put those biases in a headline, and wait to see the interactions. Y'all, this isn't good though, nor is it necessarily harmless. Young et al. Further write about how this practice is morally wrong, as it ultimately leads to user disappointment. It is not a respected practice in journalism, but it is certainly everywhere. In the Society of Professional Journalism, or SPJ, Code of Ethics, a journalist is meant to seek truth and report it, minimize harm, act independently, be accountable and transparent. Easier said than done for the clickbait journalist, I suppose. Within the contemporary space, there seems to be no greater perpetuator of the clickbait crisis than the shade room. This is full opinion, not fact. Unless someone finds a metric of how to measure clickbait, I'm sure this will stay opinion. Why am I honing in? No, better yet, why am I attacking the shade room when there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of media news outlets? Simply put, I'm black. And in my sphere, the shade room is an extremely recognizable force in the culture. They have become notorious and critiqued for their mishandling of news for engagement. Most notably, in 2023, the Shade Room was found underplaying the amount of federal aid the Biden administration gave to Maui following the devastating wildfires. They reported President Biden announces one-time payment of $700 per household to Maui residents affected by the fire. Obviously misguided, the comments under this post were criticizing the response, calling for Biden to be out of office and to even free Trump. Such an uproar landed the post over 163,000 likes, a standard amount from the typical amount that caps at around 70,000. Following the controversy, the CEO, Angie Nwandu, told NBC in an interview that all writers for the Shade Room are required to have a degree in journalism, and the political content is now filtered through a political consultancy firm. Despite the measures put in place, it still doesn't stop them from engaging in rabid tabloid-esque posts. Their use of large headers and thumbnails are meant to catch the eye of the consumer. Thumbnails will include tweets by personalities, typically ones that are exaggerated or involve unflattering faces of screenshots from a video of a celebrity. Alongside this, the headlines will be written in bold text, sometimes accompanied by bright colors like red or yellow. Color matters, okay? Humans are naturally drawn to things like color to be engaged. ColorMatters.com actually writes red off as one of the most visible colors, second only to yellow, possibly because of the way red focuses behind the retina, which forces the lens to grow more convex to pull it forward. By use of these colors, red and yellow, consumers are drawn to see what a post has to say. This is why TMZ is red, and why McDonald's is red and yellow, why Wendy's is red, and why stop signs and fire trucks are red. It's to keep us engaged. But why? Why is the Shade Room so willing to go to the extremes for user traction? Well, it's the money. CEO Angie Nwandu reportedly moved into a $3.4 million home in Sherman Oaks, California. Venture capitalist Bryce Roberts, who was once a previous investor of the Shade Room, stated that in 2019, Nwandu made millions in revenue and millions in profit. While we can't confirm these numbers because the Shade Room will not release their figures, it's safe to say that, at the very least, they're making a decent amount of money. In an interview, Nwandu has gone on to say that she doesn't share profit numbers, but maintains that the Shade Room has done better every year since they launched. Nwandu estimated that 90% of their revenue comes from advertisements. So I did some digging to find out just how much advertising that they do. I'm recording this on April 23rd, and I have counted 10 advertisements in the past 5 days. All of these have been for Fashion Nova. That is around 2 ads per day. Not even around 2 ads per day. That's just 2 ads per day. It has become so frequent that an Instagram user commented, "Does Fashion Nova run this page? These ads don't even make sense." Ads fall between celebrity gossip and garner tens and thousands of likes. It's an unfortunate but common case of journalistic integrity being sacrificed for money. The producer owes their consumers honest news reports and news that is motivated by the desire to keep people informed, not just the desire for money. But unfortunately, the world isn't perfect, which is why we need to take it upon ourselves to practice media literacy and understand that just because the Shade Room says something doesn't mean that it's true. The power of literacy changes the way in which we consume media and is integral to ensure what we consume is reliable. False information can lead to negative biases that are baseless. These are the unseen effects of what can happen with misleading headlines, and it's about time we stop. Celebrities like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion have gone on to say how much they do not like blog pages like The Shade Room because of the misleading headlines that they post and how that affects their careers. Though I understand the appeal of a tabloid, it's pretty dangerous. So the next time that you see a headline from The Shade Room, just be sure to fact check what you're reading to ensure that this is not just for money. I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully the Shade Room fans, or roomies as they're called, don't attack me. Bye.